After talking to Rudra, Ranvir parked his car in a deserted place and sat on the bonnet of the car. Then another sports car stopped there and Rudra came out of it. He quickly moved his steps towards Ranvir. Ranvir, who was drinking the bottle from his mouth, he saw Rudra with a blind eye and started drinking again. Confusion was clearly visible in Rudra's eyes. When Ranvir did not say anything for a long time, Rudra got irritated and asked, "Now will you tell me, who did you take the bottle from? As far as I thought, you love Mahi to the extent of madness. I have not seen such madness for any other girl." "Then you, to any other girl?" Rudra could not even fulfill his words. Then Ranvir got out of the bonnet of the car and said, "I had taken the bottle of Mahi." Ranvir was now slightly intoxicated. Rudra was surprised to see Ranvir and said, "Mahi? Did you take her there forcefully? Because Sheila auntie told me that that girl was crying and was trying to get rid of you." Sheila auntie was the head servant in our villa, who was about 50 years old. Ranvir and Rudra also respected her. Ranvir put the bottle from his mouth and emptied all the bottles and turned towards Rudra. He was now intoxicated in his eyes. He laughed and said, "I have legally made Mahi mine, Rudra. Now she is my legal wife. Now she is mine forever." Saying this, he started laughing loudly. Rudra was surprised to see Ranvir. He could not believe that Ranvir would go to this extent. He grabbed Ranvir's collar in anger and asked, "Did you force him to marry?" Ranvir had madness in his eyes and devil smile on his lips. He was looking like a psycho lover at that time. He smiled and said, "Yes, I forced him. I wanted to make him mine at any cost. And I did." Saying this, he started laughing loudly again. After hearing this, Rudra's anger now crossed the limit and he punched Ranvir in the face. Due to which Ranvir's face tilted to the other side and blood started coming out of his lips. He wiped the blood on his lips with a smiling thumb and went to his car to get another bottle. Before he could reach the car, Rudra grabbed his collar and said, "I told you that now she is too young for marriage. Don't force her for this. But you don't understand what I am saying. Whether she wants to marry you or not, this decision should also be hers. Not just yours. Then you forced her to marry you. Why did you force her to marry you, Ranvir?" Saying this, Rudra pushed her. Then he turned his back to Ranvir and said, "Have you ever thought how your decision will affect her heart and mind? How will she handle all this?" Then he turned to Ranvir and said, "Because of this madness of yours, one day you will lose her forever." After hearing this, Ranvir, who was only listening to Rudra till now, his face turned completely dark. He looked at Rudra angrily and said, "She can never go away from me. Because I will never let her get away from me. She has to live with me all her life now. Only as mine." Rudra could see madness in his eyes to the extent of madness for Mahi. He was afraid for Mahi that Ranvir might harm Mahi in his obsession. Rudra understood this much, that Ranvir loves Mahi to the extent of madness. And he can go to any extent for Mahi. Because he had never seen Ranvir so passionate about any other girl. Then Rudra told Ranvir, "Look, my brother, stay away from Mahi for a few days. Give her some time to handle. Treat her with a little love." Now I don't know whether Ranvir understood Rudra's words or not. But he didn't answer Rudra's question. He just looked at her and went towards his car. Then he started the car and left at full speed. Rudra kept looking at his car and then shook his head as if he was thinking that now I don't know what he will do. Then he also took his car and left. On the other side, Mahi was lying on her bed and looking at the ceiling. Tears were flowing from the corner of her eyes and all the events of today were coming in front of her eyes one by one. Then the door of her room opened. Mahi saw that her father was coming inside. So she quickly took the blanket to her face. She didn't want her father to see her crying like this because she knew very well that her father can't see her crying at all. Gangadharji came near Mahi's bed and saw that Mahi was asleep. So he turned off the side lamp and gently waved his hand on Mahi's head. Mahi wanted to hug her father tightly. But she knew that if she did this, she wouldn't be able to stop her tears. So she put her hand on her face. After a while, Gangadharji left her room. Mahi, who had controlled herself till now, started crying by hiding her face in the pillow. And in a while, she fell asleep crying. On the other side, in RK Villa, Ranvir was lying on his bed shirtless. Then his phone started ringing. Ranvir didn't want to get up at all. So he put the pillow on his ear and started trying to sleep again. The phone stopped ringing for a long time. But after a while, the phone started ringing again. Ranvir got irritated and picked up the phone. Mom was written on the screen of the phone. Ranvir received the phone while lying down and said, "Mom, why are you calling so early in the morning?" On the other side, she heard Anitaji's angry voice. "Ranvir, this is not the time of the morning. Look at the time, it's 11 o'clock. When Ranvir saw the time on the phone, it was really 11 o'clock. He put the phone back on his ear and said, "So have you called to tell me the time?" Anitaji said in anger, "No, to take your class. Where do you live these days? When do you come, when do you go? You don't even think it's necessary to tell. You forget that you also have a family." Ranvir said in anger, "Mom, I had gone for work. And I had also told Rudra. So don't bother me in the morning. I have to sleep." Before Ranvir disconnected the phone, Anitaji's warning voice fell into his ears. "You are coming to Kapoor mansion in half an hour. Otherwise, if I come there, then think about it." Ranvir respected his mother a lot. So he didn't argue anymore and said in anger, "I am coming." Saying this, he disconnected the phone. Ranvir may be the devil for the whole world, but he still didn't walk in front of his mother. That's why he got ready quickly and reached Kapoor mansion. He was sitting on the sofa in his room. And in front of him, his mother was staring at him with her hands tied. When she didn't say anything for a long time, Ranvir got irritated and said, "Mom, have you called me here to stare like this?" Anitaji asked him while staring, "When are you getting married, Ranvir? Because you have started living a little too free. Someone should come who can tie you up." If someone else had said this, then Ranvir would have been answered. Till date, no one could tie Ranvir. Ranvir Roy Kapoor has always been free and will always be free. But at this time, his mother was sitting in front of him. He knew very well that if he said anything like this, his mother would run around the whole house and beat him. Anitaji silently told Ranvir, "Look, if you like any girl, then tell me. Otherwise, I will start looking for a girl for you." Then she stopped for a while and said, "By the way, Shania is also a good girl. If you say, should I tell your dad and talk to him about the relationship?" Ranvir said, "Not at all, I don't like Shania and I have found a girl for myself." Ranvir said this because if he had not said this, then his mother would have got him married to Shania or some other girl. He knew that if his mother decided to do something once, then she would do it. After hearing Ranvir's words, Anitaji became very happy and sat next to him and said, "You have chosen a girl? Who is she? Tell me. I will take the proposal tomorrow itself. I also want to meet my future daughter-in-law." After hearing this, Ranvir looked at his mother with strange eyes. Then he started looking at her with a smile and thought to himself, "Mom, she is not your future daughter-in-law, she is already your daughter-in-law." Seeing him lost in his thoughts, Anitaji said, "Tell me, who is that girl? I want to make her my daughter-in-law and bring her home as soon as possible." Hearing this, Ranvir immediately said, "Mahi." Ranvir also said without hesitation because he also wanted to marry Mahi as soon as possible and bring her home. Anitaji was surprised and kept looking at Ranvir. She asked again to confirm, "Mahi? Our Mahi? Sarika's younger sister?" Ranvir also nodded and said, "Yes mom, Mahi. My Mahi." Saying this, he kept his head in Anitaji's lap and lay down. Anitaji said, "But now she is very young by the way, Ranvir, it is not that I don't like Mahi. I find Mahi very beautiful. She is so beautiful that anyone can fall in love with her. But to understand a marriage-like relationship, she is still very young. While lying down, Ranvir closed his eyes and said, "Mom, now you see, I want to marry Mahi. That too in a month. Otherwise, forget the dream of bringing your daughter-in-law home." Now Anitaji had no other way. She knew her daughter very well. After all, he had gone to cry. She kept her head in her lap and saw Ranvir lying down and thought to herself, "Oh God, now I have to do something. I have seen him so serious for a girl for the first time. Today I will talk to his dad." Thinking this, she smiled and started waving her hand on Ranvir's head. Ranvir was also taking it easy because he knew that his mother would convince the whole house for his daughter. Mahi did not go to college today. She was lying in her father's room with her head in his lap and Gangadharji was lovingly caressing her head. Today Gangadharji was not feeling well. But he did not let Mahi realize this. Mahi asked her father, "Father, why do people get married?" Gangadharji listened to Mahi and smiled and lovingly caressed her head. "Because son, every person needs such a life partner who will always be with him in happiness and sadness. There is a phase in every person's life when his parents and his brothers and sisters leave him alone. In old age, his children also get busy in their household. Then we have our true life partner." Mahi looked at Gangadharji and asked, "Then will you get me married for a life partner?" Gangadharji said, "Yes, whenever I will find someone who will love my Mahi a lot, then I will get my Mahi married to him." Mahi said, "If I don't want to get married, then also." Hearing this, Gangadharji said, "My dream is that I see my daughter getting married." Saying this, he stopped. He was not feeling well. He started sweating a lot and was also getting nervous. He got a little worried and told Mahi, "Mahi, go and call your uncle. Doesn't Anitaji want to convince Gangadharji? What is the reason for Gangadharji's bad health?" To know more, keep listening to Oh Baby only on Love Pulse Diaries.